Trainer Joe, 10 rules for weight loss, part 1. How many are we covering today?
Let's do 5 out of the 10.
Okay, what are these? Are these like your official rules?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, they came about organically when I started working with folks and learning and seeing what works, what's happening.
You know when something is organic, there might be something special
It's
happening.
organic, don't panic.
Number 1, organic, don't panic.
Don't panic.
Number 1, go ahead and hit us, Dad.
Rule
Also,
number 1.
you guys, real quick, if you're enjoying this longer form content, the hard work that's going into these, hit that like button, comment, share this with a friend, helps out a lot. Number 1, let's go, baby.
It won't happen by accident. You have to be intentional. Is that obvious?
This is number 1. Okay.
This is number one.
Number one.
You think that's obvious for people that you're not going to lose weight by accident? Somebody comes to me, they've gained somewhere between 10 and 200 pounds, right? Somehow that happened. It's like, okay, that happened. Now they want to lose it. Okay, it happened by accident, but you don't lose it by accident. You lose it by being very intentional, which is tough for some people because they're like, they don't feel like they gained it on purpose. So they're like, why do I have to put all this effort into losing it? And so we talk about that you're going to have to be intentional. Does that make you not want to do it because you're going to have to be intentional? I remember working with Pastor Kurt.
Yeah.
And he would tell you he grew up and his parents struggled with weight. He struggled with weight, big guy, tall guy. And he said, Joe, and worked with him. He lost all the weight and he's kept it off. He's been remarkable, Pastor Kurt.
I know Kurt.
Yeah.
Good man. You're not going to find a better man.
No. And he said, my life has been very intentional. My marriage, my family, my church, my prayer life, all this. He said, but this weight thing was I just let it happen by accident. He said, and I've learned that a life lived by accident is not a life well lived. So he became intentional with weight. A lot of people just resent that. It's like, I should not have to think about it. I should just be able to live intuitively. If I feel like doing something, do it. And it's like, okay, how's that working for you?
You just did something very passive-aggressive.
Sorry.
You just did something very passive-aggressive. You said I should be able to live intuitively. You knew that is a very big stick for many weight loss persons.
And I know there's nuance to that, right? And so I'm not bashing intuitive living completely.
Just go based.
I'm just saying, if that's your thing and you're 50 pounds overweight, your thing ain't working.
Hey-o!
That's all I'm saying. It ain't working.
Trainer Joe Unfiltered, baby. Number 2. I think we covered that one. Let's go. Number 2. What do you got?
Number 2, food is always going to be one of your enjoyments in life, but you must accept reasonable boundaries.
Okay.
That's where I tell the story about us going to Red Lobster. We ordered food. We had all this great food, and my mother-in-law was asking me why I wasn't eating the Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Cheddar Bay biscuits. Anyone who's been around the Trainer Joe program knows
Cheddar Bay biscuits.
He likes to bring this story up. The Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Great story.
Everyone loves Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Everybody loves the story.
So Grandma says,
why aren't you eating Cheddar Bay biscuits? I got this meal here, right? And I understand. Who doesn't want to enjoy everything that's brought out? Well, that's the point. Why do you think everybody in the world is overweight? It seems
U.S.
the majority.
U.S.
The majority of U.S. citizens are overweight. Over a third are obese. Fact check, whatever. It's something like that, We are fat, people. Sorry.
Blowing out their eardrums using...
We are big people around here. We Americans are overdoing it. So what's going on? Well, we want it to happen naturally. We don't want to have to take note and say no to Cheddar Bay biscuits or skip dessert or not have a second helping. We just want to live our lives. And then something happens 24 years down the road. Diabetes? How could I have diabetes? It's like, what do you mean?
I'm sorry.
This is going to be a natural occurring thing, living like this.
So the Red Lobster was, the grandma was saying, Joe, you're skinny. Eat the Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Right, that's the point.
And to
you of all people should be eating Cheddar Bay biscuits.
To your point number 2, that you even in the enjoyment of food, you should have reasonable boundaries. Your boundary was, I got this meal with the salmon, with a little teriyaki glaze. I got this baked potato with
Great meal.
With all the fixins and the broccoli with butter. My reasonable boundary is not to do the Cheddar Bay biscuits. You could have.
Right.
But you already had a
And I could have had cheesecake for dessert. Didn't have dessert. Didn't eat Cheddar Bay biscuits. And, who's going to have the Cheddar Bay biscuits and dessert? Probably people that are overweight. Or people that are the right weight and do it rarely. There you go.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Let's go. Let's move on to number 3. Number 3.
It's not your metabolism. It's the chips.
It's the chips. Another one of your iconic stories.
Yeah. Do we need to tell the story or just go with
the 5-second version? At a party, a heavy lady comes over. She says, "Man, my metabolism since I hit 50 is just shot.
It's gone." And later on, they're eating chips. I'm like, maybe don't eat the chips.
Later on, she is.
But we are entitled to it. And that kind of goes back to the last one. You going to be intentional or are you just going to let it happen?
Later on, he sees her indulging in the chips after she was complaining about her metabolism.
And I'm not condemning anyone for eating chips. Everybody can eat chips. I don't care.
Go eat some chips.
But if you're going to come to me, and now she didn't come to me, that's why I didn't call her out. I'm not saying her name. It's a story that I think can be helpful. Are you saying you would like to weigh less and you wish you had a better metabolism? You don't. What are you going to do? Eat the chips anyway? Go ahead. But you could make an adjustment that would help deal with the reality that you don't have a great metabolism. Hey, guess what? You're not a cheerleader anymore either. Guess what? You don't run around the neighborhood 4 hours a day either anymore. You got a job where you're sitting around and you're wondering why your metabolism isn't the same. Do you lift weights? What do you do for your metabolism? Or do you just sit around and complain, I wish I had a better metabolism. I'm overweight. Give me some chips. Is that harsh?
Trainer Joe Unfiltered. If you want to hear more diving into the metabolism topic, the last Trainer Joe Unfiltered, 2 ago, literally you can see in the title and the thumbnail, we talk about genetics. We talk about the myths there of metabolism and so forth.
Good memory.
Go watch that episode. It's not the metabolism, it's the chips. Oh, we call it My Metabolism is Shot. I Have Fat Genes. Wrong. That's the title. It's a few videos ago.
Okay, but that was not the podcast.
It was the podcast.
Oh, it was?
That was the
okay.
podcast
Very
episode,
good.
yeah. All right, number 4.
Number 4. Hunger is not your enemy. Learn to embrace it. And that ruffles some feathers. People are a little nervous. He's going to cause people to be anorexic. Go around hungry all the time? I didn't say go around hungry all the time. I'm just saying, not your enemy. I just think back to growing up, and I would go to my friends' houses, and they would have Pepsi and Cokes and cookies. And we were a little more strict than that for whatever reason. We didn't always have cookies laying around, We didn't always have Cokes. We didn't have Captain Crunch. We had Wheaties and Grape Nuts. It was like we were deprived. And between meals, my mom didn't expect us to eat. And I'd want to eat something. I'd be like, I'm hungry. And she'd say, don't eat that. It'll spoil your dinner. I'm like, nowadays, you're going to cause them to be anorexic. We're really sensitive to telling anybody, don't eat too much. Don't eat that. Weigh yourself.
Yeah.
Say anything, and we're hypersensitive. You're causing an eating disorder, and I for the most part, I think that's an unfounded silliness. That's not the case. So especially when you look at who we're talking to. We're talking to people that are not the right weight, that have struggled with the weight, that want to lose weight, need some help.
To the viewers who have not maybe been through a program and seen the inner workings of it. If you have someone that goes through a program and loses 15 pounds, I think the average is 10 pounds or so, but many of them have lost more than that. Say someone that's lost 15, we'll go on the high end, 15 pounds in 21 days. Would they all report back and say, I was really hungry during this time?
No, that's an interesting point. Because what I hear more often is somebody does the program and they'll say, I really wasn't that hungry. And I'm like, well, you probably could have lost more then, because hunger ain't your enemy. It's okay if you are hungry. Everybody's greatest fear is that I'm going to be hungry. It's like, and why is that a problem? Why is that bad? Why is that a negative? And a lot of people appreciate me giving them permission to be hungry. It's okay, because we grew up, it's like that was a punishment. Hunger was a punishment and dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's not reality.
If Jesus, who probably at the beginning of his 40 days without eating in the wilderness, at the beginning was probably the right weight, let's just say. Probably a fairly lean guy. If he started,
we assume.
if that was his starting weight, he goes 40 days.
How much did Jesus weigh? That's the question.
And then it says, and he was hungry. If he can do it, we who are going through a program to lose weight because we're overweight can probably go 21 days with a calorie deficit than what we're used to.
Yeah.
And suck it up.
Yeah. We are walking food banks. When we're obese and we have this extra food, we have this extra fuel on our bodies. And a lot of times we don't understand that that's what fat is. It's fuel on your body. You've got this fuel.
Where's the fat blob?
Where's the fat blob?
Retrieve the fat blob.
Retrieve the fat blob. I have retrieved it. This on your body, 5 pounds of, let's say, excess fat. You're a walking food bank, right? You consumed food that was designed for your future, right? When you overeat, you ate food that was supposed to be for next week, and you're carrying it on your body. You're a walking food bank, and we're getting nervous. I got hungry. Well, of course you got hungry.
Of course you got hungry.
It's time to eat the taco from last Tuesday. You haven't even used that yet. So it's fuel.
Yes.
And to realize that, we struggle partly because we don't understand reality. The reality is, when I go a day without eating, I ate this. I ate tacos, burritos, Sanchos, taquitos, Fritos from weeks, months, and years gone by. You ate it.
That's literally what losing the weight is.
That's what it is.
Eating
it's
it up.
Finally
and so
eating it.
You're shrinking. Your fat storage is shrinking. That's losing weight. That's what's happening.
Your fat storage is shrinking. Okay.
Is that right?
Your fat is being used.
Yes. Okay.
That's what it's supposed to be. It's fuel. Our body is amazing, and it allows us to overeat or save for later. And it's kind of like hibernation, we're saving up for winter, but winter never comes. And we just go around with this winter weight, just like, I'm ready for winter. It's like, well, you need winter. You're not allowing winter to happen.
It's like the people that put on the extra weight that are about to go on the show alone, or maybe even
because they know I'm going to have a food shortage,
or
so
maybe
they gain weight,
right? Or maybe even Survivor, which we've been watching some of. They know that there's going to be a food storage.
Yeah,
but so many of us are putting on the extra weight without.
Like we're going to be on Survivor. Oh, they didn't call my name. Oh, look at me now. I'm ready for Survivor, and they ain't calling me up. And that's too bad. Come to me, and I'll put you on Survivor. And that's kind of what we do. You got to live like you got to eat for this smaller body. What do we think it's going to feel like when we weigh 250? We want to weigh 150. Right. You start eating for 150. What's that going to feel like?
Right. That's good.
You're not going to be happy with that, but for two reasons. One, you're used to eating for the bigger body, and your big body is saying, "Why aren't you feeding me?"
Yeah.
And two, it's just unusual for you. You have a habit that you're having to go against, so it's unnatural. Who wants to do anything unnatural? Most of us don't. And so we keep our heavy weight. We wait until there's a prescription that'll fix it. And there you go. Now we have all the pills.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I can't do it on my own. Of course you can't do it on your own. Because you don't. Who wants to be uncomfortable? And I don't mean to be trite with that, because some people have really tried. Some people have really tried, but at the same time, it's like, when you sit here and you eat a bowl of ice cream, can you really say, I tried not to eat it? I'm trying not to eat this. Are you? Well, you're eating it. Well, what's the difference between trying not to and just not?
What's Yoda say?
If you're trying, you're lying.
Don't think that's Yoda. Number 5.
What did Yoda say?
Try.
No try.
Just do.
Just do.
Something like that. Number 5.
Don't try. Just
number
do.
5. Hey, before we get to number 5, guys, we'll be doing part 2, which is number 6 through 10 next week. Don't miss that episode, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Number 5, what do you got?
You don't need more self-control. You need a deeper belief.
That's outrageous. How dare you say that? It's all about self-control. Or is it? I mean, isn't that like most people are like, okay, I know what I need to do to lose the weight. It's more self-control. Isn't that?
Yeah, I got a guy in my current group. He won't mind me saying, I won't say his name, but so we have our app, and people will go on there and say, man, I had a great day. All I ate today was this and this and this. And at work, they had brownies, and I said no to brownies. And we're like, yay, way to go. And I like people to be vulnerable and share. And this guy got on there.
Oh, no. Oh, what did he do?
Oh, man, he said, I got to confess. And he's done well. But he had a day, it's like, wow, he just really went off. And he said, I confess, I went off the rails. And he listed everything he ate. It was all this stuff that's not on the plan. You know, I ate 4 tacos and 3 pieces of cake and a butter sandwich. I remember he said, and a butter sandwich. And everybody's coming to his rescue. Hey, we're for you. You know, you do all right. Start over. We all make mistakes. And I was sitting there and I agreed with all of it. And I'm like, a butter sandwich? Okay. You just rubbing it in? You know, what do you did? None of this stuff was on the list. It was just like a butter sandwich.
It's like, I've already gone so off script. What can I do now?
It's like I've gone so off script. I'm going to rub it into Trainer Joe. And you're rubbing it in here's a butter sandwich.
I'm splurging like crazy. Even on that? I'm going to get back on tomorrow. So what can I do for one last thing before I get back on the plan? A butter sandwich. That's epic.
He's a great guy. And
sure
he's going to do great. And he's lost a lot of weight.
Good for him.
But he had a moment, and we shared it. And it's like, was his problem self-control? What if I had said, Bob, I see all this food you're about to eat. I'm going to give you $10,000 if you don't eat it. Or, I'm a bad person. Bob, I see what you're about to eat. I see your little fluffy dog over there. If you eat this, I'm going to shoot it. Is he still going to eat it? And is the reason... So both of those things would keep him from eating it.
I believe you said that.
I'll shoot your dog if you eat that.
Stop.
All I'm saying is...
You get us demonetized.
He's not going to eat it. And it's not because he suddenly has a great self-control. It's because of his mindset and what he thinks. And does he believe I'll shoot his dog? Then he ain't going to eat it. Does he believe I'm going to give him $10,000? If he does, he's not going to eat it. We do have a finite amount of self-control.
Uh-huh.
It's limited.
What's the quote that you say a lot? It's not a matter of...
A wavering commitment is not primarily a problem of the will. It's a problem of deficient belief.
Oof.
And so, people that don't eat peanuts, never eat peanuts, would never eat a peanut. Why don't they eat peanuts?
They know they're going to break out.
They know they're going to break out, maybe die. Maybe their windpipe's going to cut off. Are they not eating peanuts because of their amazing self-control? No, they believe they'll die if they eat peanuts. They don't have any problems saying, no, thank you, I don't want that. Even when they're really hungry, they're not looking around saying, I'll even eat peanuts. No, because they believe how it's going to affect them in a way that they really don't want it to affect them. And when I see somebody... I was at a function last night, and there were 3 or 4 people there currently doing my program. And they had sandwiches from Jimmy John's.
Goodness. What kind of function is this?
And the lady said, I know some of y'all are doing the Trainer Joe program, so here's the Jimmy John's sandwich with no bread. It's called an unwich, and it's turkey. So it was all the stuff you can have in my program. And I really felt kind of bad, because I see one guy at the table where I was sitting at. It was people from my church. It was a church get-together.
Okay. You got us
people
curious.
From my church that decided to do it. And one buddy at my table, I know he's had a hard time. He probably wants to lose 60 pounds. And I'm watching him across the table, not in any way judgmental. It was more compassion. I'm like, he is used, and he talked about what he used to eat. And I'm seeing him, he's kind of playing with the lettuce that's wrapped around this stuff, and he's used to eating whatever he wants. And even I'm eating a sandwich with bread. And it's like, and I'm the guy leading the class, and I'm like, I feel sorry for the guy. I'm like, but, you ate wrong for years. You ate food that belonged to your future. Now you're going to have to play with that lettuce, not eat the bread, not have the cookie, not have the sweet tea for a while. You're learning how to be a healthy person now. Do you want to do it or not want to do it? And I'm going to encourage them, and I'm sending them notes and all this, but when it comes down to it, you're either going to go through this process that's different than you're used to living, or you're not. And you get to decide. And it's a little uncomfortable.
What I'm picturing is, because you're saying he was kind of like moving the lettuce around and stuff. I'm picturing you at
I'm
one.
like, bro, eat the lettuce. I'm like, what are you?
I'm picturing you at one end of the table, looking at him like this, and he's probably going like this.
Yeah, that's not what happened at all.
Okay.
I know it's hard. I'm over there thinking, I hope he's okay and
Good.
gets through this and feels okay and can
Believe it or
break
not,
through it.
Trainer Joe is full of empathy.
Yeah, I want people to win, but I'm not going to sit here and let them tell me why they can't do it when it's not true. If they're coming to me for help, I'm going to say, now if they're not asking me for help, I'm not. There was a guy at the table saying these other things that I disagreed with mildly. I'm not going to correct him. He's like, well, so and so. Don't need to go into it, but you can disagree with me all day long. I'm not going to say anything or correct you. But if you came to me and said, will you help me lose weight?
Yeah.
And
You're
you tell
not
me
going to be beating around
I
the bush.
can't lose weight because of my metabolism, I'm not gonna.
You're going to throw that
I'm going to help you
in the trash can.
Yeah,
Okay.
throw that in the trash.
Guys, comment below. Out of the first 5 of the Trainer Joe, what are we calling them?
Rules for weight loss.
First 5 rules for weight loss. Which one resonates with you the most? Which one gets you the most pumped up? And get ready for part 2. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Trainer Joe.
Thanks for watching.
Train your brain.
And transform your body.